my name is Chris Etter and I'm with ALMACO. Today we're going to be talking about the ALMACO Low Profile Thresher, or the LPR as we call it. The whole point of this video today is to kind of introduce you to the machine, some of the features, some of the options, and then kind of some basic operation and how to set the machine up to run your crop through. Before we get started on the walk around, it's always important that you read the manual before you get started so you know how to physically operate it and set it up safely. I should also note that this machine is equipped with a lockout tagout system, and for the purposes of this video I have the machine locked out and the guards removed for clarity. So this particular machine was actually designed for multiple crops. It can be used for everything from cereal grains up to and including corn, whereas some of the other threshers are kind of crop specific. So as we walk around the machine, we'll kind of start down this side, discuss some of the options and features, and then we'll move around to the back and then the other side. So to start with, this particular machine is set up with a Hotz diesel that can also be set up with a Honda gas engine or an electric engine. Here what we have is our lockout, like I said before, so anytime you need to perform service or maintenance on the machine, you want to make sure that you have it turned to the off position and a lock on it. Up in here, what you have is this is also our safety feature, is an e-stop. If you're running the machine and you have to stop the machine quickly, you can hit the button and it'll turn itself off. Beside the e-stop is the throttle for the engine. There's certain criteria and specifics for starting the engine, and we'll get into that later. This particular area up in here, this is your feed pan. So any of the crops that you're threshing, they're going to go into the feed pan and be fed down into the threshing cylinder and concave. The threshing cylinder and concave on this particular machine is an underslung version, very similar to a small combine, and it has an enclosed cylinder, completely enclosed cylinder. So here what you have, and then so the cylinder speed itself is adjusted with variable speed. The lever for it is here. If you raise it up, it's going to make the cylinder go faster. If you lower it down, it's going to go slower. There are recommended settings for this threshing cylinder in the manual. We also have a standard setup for the pulley on the threshing cylinder, which gets you a certain range of, say, 300 RPMs up to 1100 RPMs. We also put slowdown kits on it for corn. So if you're going to use the machine for corn, we would put a larger pulley and make it as a slowdown kit, just so you can you have a little more variability in your speed. Also along the right side or left side of this machine is going to be the air tank. This is an option. Air compressors and air delivery are options on these machines. This particular machine just has the air compressor, and the actual air compressor itself is down underneath here and is belt driven, and the tank is being filled as the thresher runs. It will not fill without the engine running. So also on the left side of the machine here is where you would adjust your winnowing air, which is the air that's blowing across your seed and helping to blow the chaff out as it comes across the windage tray and out of the sieve. You also have two other little flap adjustments, and with those, what you would do is when you set your windage tray up, you can change the direction of the air that's flowing through the seed. So it gives you a little more finer adjustment when it comes to small seeded crops, to where you can change the angle of the air and have it blow across the pan differently. So this particular thing here, what this is called is our windage tray. And when you're out in the field, what you're going to do to set it up is you're going to raise or lower it. There's two knobs. There's one on this side and one on the other side. And what you do is you raise it up so it's at a certain angle, and as the seed is coming off of the sieve and falling down, you want it set so that the air is just blowing the trash out and not your seed. Back here, this is the sieve area. We make multiple types of sieves for different crops, different sizes. starting at about 4 millimeter in size all the way up to 22 for the fixed holes. We also have the adjustable sieves for corn if you're doing corn. To change them out, if you're running multiple crops, there's a pin right here with a wing nut on the other side, and you just loosen the wing nut, take it off of the rod, pull the rod out, and then the sieve is free. So on the back of the machine, we have a couple different curtains. There's one here that is basically used to prevent seed bounce from coming off the top of the sieve once the trash comes through here. There's also on the inside of the machine another curtain that is adjustable. There's a knob on each side of it. You can raise and lower it to you know, kind of help regulate some of the seed bounce inside of it, and make sure that everything is going through your sieve as far as the seeds go. While we have this open, I would want to explain what's in here. So this component here is the straw puller, and what's going to happen is your material is fed in through the threshing cylinder and concave. This particular piece is going to start pulling the straw away from it, and your seed that's threshed is going to fall through that concave down onto the pan and then onto the sieve. So this is just pulling material away after it's been threshed to help with you know, seed cleaning and bounce and things like that. So let me close this back up. So on this side of the machine, or what would be called the right side of the machine, basically there's really not much for any type of adjustment here. These are just drives, and then you also have your shaker arms and your shaker pan that's here, but there's really not much you're gonna have to do with them as far as, you know, service, maintenance type things like that. There are some spots for oil. About every 25 hours, put a drop of oil in it. Down here, what you have is your winnowing blower. So this is what's actually cleaning your sample as it's coming off of the sieve and falling down into your seed chute. So the winnowing blower, in conjunction with the windage tray, is what you're going to use to adjust to get a clean sample. Again, on this side, you can see here's the actual air compressor that's mounted down inside of there, which is feeding the air tank. And the air tank is great to have because if you're doing, you know, larger samples and you need pure samples in between, this thing cleans out really well on its own, but that air compressor gives you the chance to open up the tops and clean down in below, or down inside of it. The key is that you want to do that with the machine off and locked out. So this here is the lever that's going to adjust your concave on how far open or closed to the cylinder it is. Basically, there's notches on the top of it, and each notch represents a 1/4 inch opening in that between the concave and the cylinder. Go. Okay, so this is your concave clearance adjuster. As I stated before, the concave, you can adjust it in increments of roughly a 1/4 inch, and to do that, you loosen the wing nut, and if you need to close it, you push it back. If you need to open the concave up, you pull it towards you. It's one of those things that you we have recommendations in the book as far as you know, kind of recommended starting settings and how fast to run your threshing cylinder, and how far open to do to have your concave. Sometimes it takes, you know, a little bit of playing around with it to get it to get to the right, you know, to get it perfect, so to speak. But this is a good guide and will get you really close to start with. So in here, what we have then is it's actually the threshing cylinder. And so if you notice, the threshing cylinder is fully enclosed, so you don't have any seeds that'll get wrapped around on the inside of it. It's very similar to the way our combines are. It has a fully enclosed cylinder with an underslung concave. So moving around to the front, again, like I said before, this has got the HOTS diesel on it, and we do offer other models. So on the front of the machine, then basically what you have is you have your tongue and your jack. The tongue is a class 3 rated hitch with a 2-inch ball. I should also note that on our LPRs and LPTs, the large machines, we put a torsion axle on it, which gives it the ability to pull it down the road at highway speeds. Also in the front then is our clutch handle. So in order to engage all of the drives on this machine, it's a matter of pulling the lever back. And once it locks in place, now your drives are engaged, you're ready to thresh. Always good to do that at an idle on a gas engine. With the diesel engines, when we start the diesels, they're just going to run at full throttle, so you don't have much of a choice, but you want to engage it slowly. Okay, so now what I want to do is I want to talk about the process for threshing crops with this machine. So after you have the machine running, your drives are engaged, you have the correct threshing cylinder speed set, and your correct concave opening. So then what you do is you put your material up here in the feed pan, and you start feeding plants in. Now, when you're feeding plants, you want to feed it enough that the machine is threshing it and getting you a clean sample, but you don't want to overload it. If you overload it, then it's either going to slug the machine, or you're going to spend more time. You're going to have to re-thresh some plant material. So as you feed it nice and even, it's going to go into here, and the concave and the threshing cylinder will actually work together to thresh your seed out. The seed falls through the concave and ends up on the shaker pan with the sieve. So as the shaker pan is moving back and forth, your trash material and mog is coming back, your seed is falling through, and then as the seed falls through, it hits the windage tray, and in the windage tray then is where it's cleaning, kind of giving your final cleaning sample, where it's blowing air across your seed, blowing the trash out, and then your clean seed is going to come out down here. Down here we offer catch buckets, or you can use a standard bucket or a tray or something to catch your seed with. We also offer an air delivery system with this machine that basically it uses a blower very similar to that on an HP5 combine, blows it up into a cyclone, and then it would be right here is where you would catch your seed. Okay, so now what I want to do is I want to demonstrate how we're going to start this particular model. So the first thing you need to do is make sure that your lockout tagout is on, and then your safety e-stop, you want to make sure that it's released and it's in the up position, and then your throttle lever, which is right here, you're going to make sure you want to spin it out so that it is open all the way. So then when I start it, or when I turn the key and the motor starts, then I'm ready to engage my drives. Clear.
Now what I want to do is I want to share with you a couple helpful tips that when you're setting up out in the field before you start threshing, what you need to do with the machine. So once you get it out to the field, you're going to want to unhook it from your truck and make sure that the rear of the machine is facing downwind. And then what you want to do then is make sure that you're level side to side and that you're level front to back. What that does is it helps the material flow through the machine and out the back. Now you can, at times if you have to, you can make adjustments to the jack to either go up or down, and what that does is it gives you the option of speeding up or slowing down how much material is coming through, and it could aid in giving you a cleaner sample, or if you have a large bundle that you're putting through, it will aid in getting that out quicker. So well, thank you for spending the time with us today as we talked about the ALMACO low profile thresher. If you have any questions or would like to talk to somebody further, please call 515-382-3506 and you will be directed to somebody in marketing.